My dream never had anything to do with money. Never. For a while when I was drinking, it became that, and that's why I destroyed myself. My dream has everything to do with an uneducated man who has an idea, a kid who says, I'm going to do something, and then do it. I wasn't handed the opportunity. Throughout my life, I failed. I failed more in my life than I've succeeded. But I never gave up. I kept pushing and pushing and pushing until I found the right spot, the right thing to do, the right time, and most importantly, the truth inside of me. See, I'm the product in me, and if I'm not real, then you're going to see through that like that. That's the American dream. You keep trying and keep following what you do, and you sometimes fall flat on your face. You might break your nose. You might break the system. As soon as you know the rules, then you intelligently break the rules. I'm not the law, the rules. You think out of the box. No, everybody says it should be done this way. I don't think so. That's the dream. Instead, we've made the dream about the payoff. Money is not the payoff. I wasn't successful until I understood this. Money is the byproduct of what you're making. Whatever it is you're making, whatever it is you're doing. Money, when you stopped focusing on the money and you started focusing on the dream, you started focusing on what you love, on the best product, or even better, your customers, did anybody else go, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice. Man, look at our business, how much it's grown. Right? Am I right? Mm-hmm. Money is the byproduct, spoils. It's just the stuff that you now use to plow back in and employ more and more people. They've sold this idea that the American dream can be bought at a store or on a lot. It can't. That's a perversion. It's such a sad perversion. And you'll never get those things unless you take them from others, if your goal is that. I gave a questionnaire to our studio audience. We're going to talk to them here in a second. They're all entrepreneurs, all small business owners. One question I asked was, what inspired you to start your business? The answers varied, but they were generally about freedom and responsibility. I wanted to be my own boss. I didn't want to answer to anybody. Let me ask you this. Nobody really wants to be their own boss. They just want people to stop telling them what to do. Because how many of us have worked at a place, especially in this country, you know a death of a country is right around the corner, or a death of a company, when the attorneys start arriving. As soon as the attorneys start arriving, then you have to answer to them. And you're like, okay, this isn't fun anymore. And all of us have worked at a place, I'm sure you have too, you've worked at a place where you're like, okay, if they would just get these think people out of the way, we'd be a great company. Other answers, I wanted to prove that I could do it. If I could follow my passion, I could make it. How about this? I wanted a better chance to earn a little more money. No one said I did it to get rich. They said they did it for the opportunity. Well, I think that's the American dream. And we'll talk to these people. Yes, Thurston, Howell, and Lovey are here. They all came off the golf course to join us. Well, some of them came off. You came right off the yacht? Yeah. We'll talk to them next. We have a potpourri of small businesses here. During the break, I got to know everybody, a little bit of what everybody does. We have a little bit of everything in the audience. And the reason why I want to talk to small business owners is because these are the ones that are being demonized. How many are chamber members? Chamber of Commerce members? 2? I know. They're in with foreign governments trying to destroy us. Let me introduce somebody. Amelia Antonetti. She wrote the book, The Recipe, A Fable for Leaders and Teams. You actually got into small business when you found out that your child was gravely ill. What happened?
Cute little doctor showed up to me and he said, I think you need to let this one go. and my world opened up and spun downward.
Wait. Trying to get my arms around that. That's what the doctor said about your child?
About my child.
Got to let this one go. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice bedside manner.
And my world came to an end. I did everything right. I was so ready for this baby. And the next thing I know, I started this cycle going back and forth to doctors. And I finally said, you know what? I'm going to take him back. I'm going to follow my instinct, and I'm going to start going outside of the box. I don't care what it is. I'll hang crystals. I'll wear Birkenstock, whatever I have to do. But I wasn't going to go to the end and lose without giving up a fight. And it found out from keeping a journal that he was having an allergic reaction to the common household chemicals in my home. And I didn't even know I had chemicals in my home. And so I was like, okay, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the store. I'm going to buy soap. And there's no soap. It's detergent after detergent, chemical after chemical. And I was like, okay, well, this can't be too hard. And I called my grandmother. My grandmother was like, look, we used to make them in our day. I'm like, what do you mean make them? She said, we cooked them. We took all the scraps after the day, and we actually made soap. I'm like, show me how to do that. So I started cooking on my stovetop, bought kettles of soap, took out my handy-dandy cheese grater, grated into soapwork flakes, and then it was my first little laundry. And then I rallied the community to help me.
What is the name of your company?
Soapworks.
And what is it? Have I seen your soap before?
I'm sure everybody has.
Is it like the pretty little soap, the little clear stuff? And
no, we basically turned it into a whole family of products. When I started my company, there was no such thing as green. You know, green was just a color. And I said what I wanted to do was be able to...
I have news for you. It still is. Sorry. Right now, Michael's up at the top. He's a green guy. And he's like, what does that mean? No, it's more.
But I wanted to take on the big boys. I basically said, look, if women knew what was in the product, they would choose something different. And they kept saying, it's never been done, it's never been done, you can't do this. And we did. We took it all the way.
So if you had one piece of advice for somebody and you said, you want to start something or you want to live the same way you are, how would you encourage somebody? Well, what was the turning point for you? I know it was extreme, but what was the thing that people can relate to that don't have a sick child?
The turning point for me was how many people stood up behind me. They said, but you know what, you go, girl, and we're right behind you. And I'm like, will you put your dollar where your mouth is? Will you support me and trying to do something that's never been done before? And they do. The community embraced me, and I in turn embraced the community. And we do every time we open up a new office and a new business. We embrace them, and they turn into, and we are part of the fabric of the community. The community can't survive without the small business, but the small business can't survive without the community.
That's right. It really is. At least I've come to a place with my listeners and viewers to where the greatest thing it said in the New York Times about me in this latest article was that they can't believe how many of my listeners or viewers come up and hug me. And they said, what other TV or radio show host gets so many hugs? I mean, besides Oprah. How many get hugs? I view my listeners and viewers as friends. I've always treated them with respect. I value their time and their money and everything else. And when you do that, that's the part that is always left out when they talk about greedy businesses. If you get that way, you screw your customers, you lose in the end. When you make them your friend and you treat them right and you're like, look, this is going to be good for you and good for me.
They're a part of us. They invite me in their home when they purchase my product. The first time I saw somebody pull my product off the shelf, I cried. I couldn't believe that they chose me. It's an emotional connection that we have with our customers, and we will fight for them.
Okay, some people, if you're thinking about, because I'm telling you, the secret to success for America is we must foster the entrepreneurial spirit again. We must teach people how to be businessmen, and we must figure out how you can get past your fear on, holy cow, but it's such a scary time to start a business. There are some answers on that. We'll delve into those next. Patrick? We're talking about the American dream and the entrepreneurial spirit, and this room full of small business owners. Yes, they're the rich people that won't even miss their money. And what it took for them to, and what it takes for them to still be a small business owner today. Patrick has an interesting story. Patrick, you started out in Iran.
I did definitely, and I remember living there when the war happened between Iran and Iraq. I lived there till I was 10 years old. And my parents, my mother, my father, my sister, we used to always pray about one day having a shot about coming to America. I'll never forget watching movies like the Gremlins, the Goonies, the Ghostbusters, the Rockies.
It's just like that here.
It is. It sure is.
How many times?
Translated on Farsi, it's hilarious when you watch it. But yeah, we used to fantasize about one day coming here. We used to fantasize about one day coming here. And I'll never forget, in '89, we left to Germany. We lived there for a refugee camp for a couple of years. From there, November 28, we came here. I fell in love with this place. This place is a very special country. Went to school, didn't do too well in school. I had roughly a 1.8 GPA in high school.
Wow.
Failed a ton of my classes, did very well in math. Right afterwards, joined the military. I was at the 101st Airborne Division, Air Assault. Had a great time, got out, got involved in business. And I never forget when one of my mentors said, you got to become an entrepreneur. I got involved in the financial industry. Started off with a large firm out of Beverly Hills, then went to another firm, became a chairman of that company, and then last year, September 25th, I resigned from that firm, and October 20th, we became a official company, PHP, People Helping People.
Which is what?
Which is a financial marketing organization, what we do. You know, to an average person, when I explain the company, they say you're a financial company, but to us it's more like a crusade, it's a cause, it's a movement, and it's hard kind of to explain it because if our PHP folks are watching this, they're going to say they know exactly what we're talking about. You see, we put an event together last year in March of never forget, I had dinner with George Will in March of '09 at Miramar Hotel. And prior to that, I was kind of bored. And there's a quote that inspires me. It says, mankind is lazy until something catches their heart, kind of like something caught her heart. And I got inspired after George Will's message about the younger guys, the 20, 30-year-old, 40-year-old knuckleheads that are not educated. We need to rise up and do something about it.
It is, and it is amazing how so many people are not, they don't think now, the younger, don't think that they can make it. John, when did you start your business? You and Randy, your brothers?
Yes, 1985.
And you are in the?
We're hardwood flooring contractors.
Hardwood flooring.
Construction.
And you guys started not with a lot of money?
We started from scratch.
Yeah. And what happened?
Well, like I said, to him on the way coming in, I was married, he wasn't. And there were many weeks, many times that we went without pay, where the employees got paid.
How many people have done that? You've gone without pay yourself because you had to pay them.
Year after year.
Yeah.
And that was a tradition that was held down, not just from our folks and those values, but I had an employer beforehand that did that for me.
Right.
And the core American value doesn't need to be told to me by the government. The American people know
they're good.
What's good.
Yeah, they're good. That's why I have great faith in this country, is because we'll take care of each other. People helping people. We will help each other. You were saying?
We're in business 37 years.
John, what do you do?
It's a waste hauling company on Long Island.
All right.
It's, my husband would tell me the story the first time. It was during the Carter administration when the construction companies just all folded. And he located a truck and decided to go into business. He would have to hide the truck so it wouldn't be repossessed until we could get all the money together and make the payment for that month. And we'd find another location. And now we have a fleet of Peterbilts. And he's 37 years. It's a long time. And we deal a lot with the government. So, that's difficult. Every time we turn around, fingerprinting and the states and the federal.
To haul somebody's
yes.
pee away?
Yes, and also you need to be, we're regulated on Long Island, and actually everywhere who does this type of business. You have to be in certain facilities, papered to death as to where a load goes and where it's coming from.
How many people here have seen an increase in paperwork and all of that stuff? What does that do to you? Mark, what does that do to you, or Maria, any of you?
It takes half my morning, is all paperwork. Yeah. I wait for the mail.
It turns us into unpaid employees of a government.
That's
It
right.
what?
It turns us into unpaid employees of a government.
What do you